The French of old folks who dropped out of high school is perfect for an entertainment. As I was about to walk past Aubrey, my eldest son's wife, she whispered this to us, ensuring only we could hear. The smirk she wore, mocking us, was an inappropriate look for a bride on her wedding day. The speech we were asked to give as a surprise for Tyler, our eldest son, turned out to be a trap set by my eldest son's wife to embarrass us. My eldest son's wife always looked down on us for only completing a middle school education and took every chance to insult us. Being a proud Ivy League graduate, Aubrey always said things like, "For someone who is a high school dropout." I suspect that when she said we should participate in the wedding the day before, she wanted to make a joke out of us in front of her relatives. She probably believed there's no way high school dropouts could deliver a proper speech in French. Aubrey might have been expecting a pathetic old man and woman trying to show off with broken, incomprehensible speech in French.
"We're all right. Don't worry. Look forward to it,"
we reassured my eldest son, who looked worried, with those words. Determined to stand up against my eldest son's wife's disrespectful attitude, I gripped the microphone. "My name is Violet. I'll be turning 70 this year. Though we faced our fair share of hardships growing up, we now live ordinary lives like any other family. We've always been protective of my eldest son, not wanting him to face the struggles we did. Finally, our sacrifices seemed to pay off when my eldest son met a woman and decided to marry her. Unfortunately, it seems we'd face challenges again because of their wedding. The first time we met Aubrey was when they came to our house to announce their engagement. Initially, she gave off a modest and gentle impression, so we were thrilled about our son marrying such a wonderful person.
We were thinking, given our age, maybe just to file the marriage papers and skip the ceremony. Oh, what a waste! Let's celebrate this special occasion. Exactly. We'll chip in. Have a nice wedding.
We chatted amicably about their wedding plans. But that changed when my husband started reminiscing about my son's past.
He's always been smart, not like us. Thanks to that, he even went to a state university. Oh, so you two didn't go to a public university? No, we didn't even finish high school.
Wait, so you both of you dropped out of high school? Aubrey asked, a look of surprise on her face. Both of us, due to family circumstances, had to help out with the family business instead of attending school. Although there were circumstances, we couldn't really be proud of it, so we exchanged wry smiles at the behavior of my eldest son's wife. It's not like I didn't want to learn at school just like everyone else. Nevertheless, we were proud of our home and didn't resent it.
Well, hearing that someone only completed middle school is quite surprising, right? Absolutely. But I'm so glad that intelligence wasn't passed down to Tyler.
What do you mean?
Well, having in-laws who only completed middle school. It's truly like a black hen lays a white egg, huh?
My eldest son's wife said with a slight smile. The atmosphere became tense in an instant. We couldn't say it was something to boast about, but both my husband and I exchanged glances at her blunt remarks. We were taken aback by her words, but my eldest son's wife seemed unfazed and even laughed, saying, "Oh, was that too difficult a term for high school dropouts?" Seeing her nonchalant smile, we were at a loss for words. Giving her the benefit of the doubt, we thought perhaps she meant no harm and bit back our words. However, my eldest son's wife's words and actions were nothing short of disdain, as if she was simply looking down on us. She must have thought that, because of the term high school dropouts, we were pitiable, uneducated in-laws. From then on, her attitude became increasingly terrible, making spiteful comments at every opportunity.
You two married quite young, didn't you? Because you had nothing better to do? That's not true. We got to know each other well and then got married. It must have been a time when you could choose who you loved. But ending up with another high school dropout means you could only get someone on your level, right?
Aubrey said with a mocking smile, her words dripping with malice. Despite her terrible behavior, both my husband and I repeatedly warned her. Yet she didn't seem to listen, acting as if we were arrogant despite our lack of formal education. In front of Tyler, she would act somewhat well-behaved, but when he wasn't around, she'd become brazen, openly voicing her criticisms. It's true, my eldest son graduated from an Ivy League school. But her behavior made it clear that academic achievements don't necessarily reflect one's character. As the wedding preparations progressed, her attitude only worsened. When she occasionally came to our house and we'd have dinner, she'd say things like, "Oh, even someone with just a middle school education can cook, huh," looking over the meal I prepared. Another time, she remarked, "Even with just a middle school education, you live in such a nice house. Maybe it's because your son is so accomplished?" Her tone suggested as if we were dependent on my eldest son.
Aubrey, don't be disrespectful to my dad. This house was bought with his earnings. Tyler is so kind. He probably helped out a lot, right?
Even when Tyler noticed and tried to intervene, Aubrey just brushed it off, saying, "I didn't mean any harm," all the while smirking at us. When I looked into her condescending eyes, I could only feel malice. Even when my eldest son tried to correct her behavior, she assumed I had tattled on her and seemed annoyed.
He can't possibly earn enough to build a house just because he dropped out of high school. That's what my friends say too.
To make matters worse, my eldest son's wife had been spreading baseless rumors around town, claiming that we were leeching off our son's earnings and living a luxurious life at his expense. We were at our wits' end with her insensitivity.
Don't expect me to take care of you just because I married your son, okay? I just became a family with Tyler, not to deal with burdens like you. You're preaching to the choir. We wouldn't want someone who can spout such harsh words to look after us anyway. You're in denial. Oh, by the way, I hope you've given up on the idea of relying on Tyler. Please don't be a bother any longer.
No matter how many times we clarified, Aubrey seemed convinced that we intended to continue relying on my eldest son, constantly keeping us in check every time we met. Even when we told her that wasn't the case, she wouldn't listen, leaving me with nothing but sighs. With even the atmosphere around the upcoming wedding becoming tense, Aubrey came to us with a request. She wanted us to give a speech as part of the entertainment during the wedding.
We've taken some money from you both for the wedding, so we'll let you attend. But in return, can you do me a favor? And I want it to be a surprise for Tyler. It's kind of last minute to be telling me this, you know. I forgot, I'm sorry. But it's already scheduled, so I can't change it. A speech, huh? Well, if that's all you want, I guess it's fine.
Despite her biting words, I resigned myself to the fact that arguing was futile and reluctantly agreed. Given the request for a 10-minute speech from the groom's parents, we were skeptical but agreed. Surely she won't try to mess with us during the speech. Just as I had that thought, upon hearing my response, Aubrey narrowed her eyes and grinned cheekily, saying,
"Great. So, I'll need the speech in French tomorrow." French? Why on earth?
Taken aback, I asked, and she okayed down at me with a smug expression. Seeing that expression, I realized, once again, that she held nothing but malice towards us. I was truly disappointed.
A lot of my friends, like me, are Ivy League graduates. I don't want to be looked down upon just because my in-laws dropped out of high school. But even if they're elites, there's no reason the speech has to be in French, right? Think about how the other guests would feel. Oh, right. I guess French might be too much for high school dropouts. It must be embarrassing making excuses, huh?
With her constant sarcasm and forceful attitude, she left us with a warning to keep our promise and walked away. I glanced at my husband with a troubled look, and he just shook his head in silence. While we were pondering our next move, a call came from Tyler.
"Mom, are you okay? Is everything all right?"
"Yes, everything's fine. What's up?"
"I heard from Aubrey that you guys are going to help make the wedding special. I was worried she might have caused more trouble for you."
He sounded apologetic as he said that. It seemed he had called us out of concern for Aubrey's excessive behavior.
I wonder if choosing Aubrey as my life partner was a mistake. I never thought someone could change so much just because of their educational background.
My eldest son voiced such doubts. I couldn't bear to see my beloved son, who never boasted about his education and grew up to be such a kind-hearted individual, worry any further. My husband and I exchanged a knowing glance and nodded in agreement. "We're fine, honey. Don't worry about a thing. Just look forward to the wedding," we reassured him. With that, we began preparing our speech. Determined to show Aubrey what we were made of, we headed to the wedding venue the following day. On the wedding day, everything seemed to be going smoothly. except for the occasional glances and sneers from Aubrey's friends seated at her side. Even when we ran into them in the corridor, they purposely bumped into my shoulder without even a simple greeting. Without apologizing, they moved on, wearing scornful smiles, which made me think they'd probably been hearing things about us from Aubrey.
Are you okay, Violet?
Yes, I'm fine. I could guess what they'd been told, but even then, these were very rude individuals for being first-time acquaintances. Their very character was questionable. If I was considered the bad apple in the lot, they surely were no better. I straightened my posture and sighed deeply, waiting for the right moment to fight back. Now, we have a surprise speech from the groom's parents. At the lively announcement, my husband and I looked up. My eldest son looked shocked while beside him, Aubrey sneered at us with a smirk that seemed entirely out of place for a bride.
The French of old folks who dropped out of high school is perfect for an entertainment.
My eldest son's wife whispered just loud enough for us to hear as we passed by. I had half a mind to slap that smug face, but I held back and accepted the microphone. Taking a brief moment to collect myself, I began my speech.
First, let me share a little about us.
The moment I started, I saw from the corner of my eye that Aubrey's eyes went wide in surprise. She probably was looking forward to hearing a disappointing speech from the grandparents in broken French. While we may not have a native-like fluency, it seems we more than shattered her expectations. My husband, sitting next to me, went on to even show off several other foreign languages, not just French. Seeing Aubrey's wide-eyed, stunned expression, I couldn't help but smirk.
How can you deliver such a speech? It's weird considering you dropped out of high school. Please, don't judge a book by its cover, or in this case, by one's education.
I responded softly and continued my speech. I openly delivered speech in French how my eldest son's wife disapproved of our educational background, how she unexpectedly requested this French speech just the day before, and her demanding attitude implying that if we were to attend the wedding, this was the least we could do. I even talked about her previous insults towards us. I actually had much more to say, but my speech was cut short due to a flustered interruption from Aubrey. Still, the murmurs and whispering in the crowd, coupled with the shocked look on Aubrey's face, made me feel that our revenge was complete.
Sorry for that little commotion there. It was a surprise speech from the groom's parents.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And may I say, your pronunciation was impeccable. Did you study abroad?
No, to our embarrassment, we dropped out of high school. Yes, it's true that we dropped out of high school, but in my case, it was to help out with the family business. My husband, although he too only completed middle school, managed to not only support his family but also became the CEO of a successful company. My husband had climbed his way up, working relentlessly, and even established his own company. My husband had the ability to learn everything he needed on his own, so not attending school was trivial to him. My husband and I met by chance through our work, and knowing the similar hardships I faced, he stepped in to assist with my family's business.
Thank you so much for helping our family. I can't express my gratitude enough. If you're thankful, why not work with us? It would be reassuring to have someone who's faced the same challenges on board.
That's how I started working at my husband's company, and continued working even after we got married, until my retirement. Since the company also had overseas operations, thankfully both my husband and I became fluent in French. I finished off by saying to Aubrey with a smile,
"It was the bride who asked us to deliver this speech in French at this wonderful venue. She set up this opportunity so that my husband and I, who only completed middle school, wouldn't be looked down upon by her and her highly educated friends, including those who graduated from prestigious universities like Harvard."
From her reaction, even though she requested the speech in French, she probably couldn't fully understand it. Likely, she didn't grasp the entirety of our previous speeches either. Her earlier outburst seemed to stem from her disdain for seeing us speak French so fluently. As I waved cheerfully, Aubrey waved back timidly. Her usual sarcastic remarks were gone, and she remained silent and looked down for the rest of the event. The guests from my eldest son's wife's side seemed to have understood the speech much better than she did. Their smiles from moments ago instantly faded. Aubrey's parents appeared just as distressed. The festive mood quickly shifted, and my eldest son's wife had a terrified look on her face, getting uncomfortable glances from relatives. She seemed paralyzed like a frog being stared down by a snake. She probably never anticipated such a reaction from just a speech. We honestly didn't expect such a big reaction from just a speech. My husband and I exchanged amused glances and chuckled. Although I was concerned about my eldest son sitting next to the pale-faced Aubrey, he gave us a thumbs up and a reassuring smile when our eyes met. Later on. From the content of the speech at the wedding, as expected, Aubrey seemed to get a major backlash from her relatives. Notably, her parents had some professional ties with my husband's company. After the ceremony, they rushed over to us, informing us about this connection. As we were about to leave the venue, they stopped us. While forcefully making my eldest son's wife, who was still in her beautiful dress, apologize, they too apologized profusely. We desperately tried to calm them down. My daughter behaved very awful, and we are truly sorry.
It's okay. Even in family, everyone's different. I had no idea. I did not see that coming. Well, I bet. You never really listened to what I said. You were so proud, saying black hen lay a white egg.
When I revealed what happened in front of her parents, they both turned beet red and glared at their daughter. Then, the complexion of my eldest son's wife worsened even more. We'll make sure she reflects on her actions. We'll discipline her properly to ensure this doesn't happen again.
That's fine. She's now a part of our son's family. She mentioned wanting to distance herself from us.
To add insult to injury, my eldest son's wife finally had tears in her eyes. Her parents seem pretty intimidating, but that's none of our business. Furthermore, I heard that even her friends had cut ties with her because they had believed the baseless rumors, saying, "We thought you had terrible in-laws with just a middle school education." She must have felt embarrassed for getting caught up in all that.
Why is this happening to me? If Tyler had told me, none of this would have happened. I did tell you. They had earning enough to build a house and didn't need any financial help. They even paid for all of my college tuition. I never heard that. Yeah, you never really listened to me either.
With those cold words, Tyler turned his back on her. Though usually mild-mannered, Tyler was at his wits' end with this situation and was even considering divorce. Abandoned by her relatives, friends, and even by my eldest son, Aubrey found herself completely isolated. She stood all alone at the wedding venue, looking lost and desolate. A few days after the ceremony. Though seriously contemplating divorce, it seemed like they were still trying to work things out in their marriage. Abandoned by my eldest son, Aubrey seemed to work tirelessly, as if she had transformed into another person.
Violet, can we please let bygones be bygones and get along again? Again? I don't recall us ever getting along in the first place.
She seemed to be acting remorseful in front of Tyler. But toward us, she often came up close, pretending to apologize. Unfortunately, I'm the type to hold a grudge, so I pretended not to notice her intentions of trying to mend her relationship with my eldest son and our family, and I kept my distance.
Who do you think was suggesting we should cut ties? Oh, come on. Quit playing dumb and just help me out, will you? Always nagging, you're the most spiteful person. Why, thank you. You trying to make a spectacle out of an old couple's French skills was quite a move as well.
Not liking my retort, a frustrated Aubrey glared at me. With her unapologetic attitude, our relationship might indeed be severed soon. Even if it put her in a difficult position, I wondered where her high pride came from. She seemed to look down on us and was reluctant to reflect on her actions. Recently, a relative who had recorded the wedding sent us the footage. When it got to my speech, we clearly saw the surprised face of the bride and burst out laughing.
You know, school isn't the only place to learn. Maybe I should try learning something new. Why not? Maybe I'll join you.
We decided to head to a bookstore together to look for some study materials.